back. Hello. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to now the officially named Civil Point Podcast with myself, your host, Ariana Deva. And guess what? We have a lot to discuss tonight because, hold up, my headphones are on wrong. I hate when, one second, we gotta fix this. Gotta make sure it's perfect. I hate when my headphone string is across me. I like it right here. Sorry. Yes, so we are officially naming it the Civil Point Podcast. It's a video podcast. We tackle topics of politics. We tackle topics of life. Wait, why is my head not working right now? We topple topics of just everyday issues that affect everyday Americans like myself and you who are probably watching right now. And with the landscape of what MAGA America literally is right now, it's very important to have every voice out there dissenting against the madness that is being perpetrated through the airwaves, through our televisions, through our computers, through every sort of media outlet that allows MAGA to thrive in any way, because it's an extremist organization, extreme right-wing Christian nationalist organization that looks to dethrone America from its attempted glory days. I mean, the last 50 years we were going down the right path, and now all of a sudden we're slammed back into a brick wall where they're trying to take us back to 1860. And that's not happening on my watch, on anyone's watch, who actually cares about America, who actually cares about democracy, who actually cares about freedoms. It's not going to happen. We need to continue to fight against this coalition and this coup of the United States nation. And, you know, I was thinking this earlier. I was just like, say if we gave MAGA America and said, all right, you know what? We're done. We're not doing this anymore. We're going to go take our own space in this new land that we just found, right? Do you think MAGA America would be satisfied with that if we just left them to America like they want? No, they wouldn't, because their settlers were not okay with just having this land. They needed slaves to work the land. So that's why I think MAGA America will never be satisfied, will never be happy, will never be content at the least to just exist in their world, because they feel like the world needs to exist to serve them. And it's the opposite. We need to exist to serve each other and help each other, and not be slaves to some movement that has extreme ideologies that looks to ban groups of people from even existing, and if need be, and have the ability to eradicate these groups of people from existing. So I digress, but we have quite the show today because there's a lot going on in MAGA America currently, and I'm not going to coin that. Actually, I'm gonna stop saying that because I don't want to put out the idea that this is MAGA's America, because it's not. This is everyone's America, and Trump has proven that he doesn't care about half the country. He said he does not care about his enemies. He doesn't wish his enemies well, and probably wants death on these enemies. So I'm not going to coin MAGA America. This is America, and this is America for everyone, not for some right-wing extremist ideology that looks to destroy the institutions that have led to the success of America. So, I do want to go into a little bit of insanity that I've been seeing online in regards to MAGA, the movement, their insane ideologies, and their insane culprits of aggressors that attend the rallies, that attend actual Democratic rallies that look to address issues that MAGA and their leader, Don isn't actually addressing. So I was on TikTok and I don't have words for what I saw. I have gratitude for how someone handled it, but in general, I don't have 1 minute. We are not here yet. I don't know why it's not sharing the correct screen. 1 minute, we're gonna get this correct. We're gonna get this. Everything wants, technical difficulties when you're just doing this all alone. Properties. We're gonna do this. We're gonna get this. Don't worry. We're gonna get this. Don't worry. Here we go. See, we got it. Okay, so what I has saw online is this happen, and I was disgusted with this woman's demeanor, with her actions, with her words. And these people are obviously aggressors when it comes to walking in to rallies, walking into committees and meetings and throwing out racial slurs and throwing out derogatory remarks that look to incite a crowd of violence. This is what MAGA does. This is what these insane, demented people do because they feel they have the right to. They have grown not only emboldened by the current political state, but they have grown entitled to say these kind of words. So Jasmine Crockett was out at a town hall, and a MAGA influencer, Sarah Gonzalez, confronted. I don't even want to say confronted because confronted isn't even the word. She literally verbally assaulted Jasmine Crockett. So let's get into this.
Jasmine! The people of Dallas deserve better than a fake ghetto hood rat.
No, ma'am. Don't touch me. Get your ass out of here. Get your ass out of here.
Get her off me. Get off me.
Get out.
Get off me.
I'm not. I'm standing still.
This is so disgusting.
I'm standing still.
Yes, she is.
I'm standing still.
Do your people know you're a spoiled rich kid from Missouri? Get it! Get it! Get it! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Like, I don't understand the thought process for someone to go into this and say this is okay for anyone to do.
Get off me! Get the fuck off!
All right, let's go.
Why didn't they?
you
Well, they
proud?
can't arrest her. But
Let's just go.
For what?
Let's go. I'm telling you to go.
it's called loitering when someone wants you to leave. But listen to that first sentence.
Jasmine! The people of Dallas deserve better than a fake ghetto hood rat.
I give it to Jasmine for standing in that moment. She was literally nothing but shocked, as anyone would be. And she was just like, and I saw that click of, oh, do I need to beat a bitch today? No, I can't, because I'm in a town hall and there's cameras. Gotta protect the image a little bit here. And as much as I would have loved to seen Jasmine beat that bitch, I'm glad she didn't. She showed her true demeanor and how classy she is by trying to digress and dissect the situation in the moment, while also trying to make sure the people in the town hall were literally like not going crazy, not creating madness because of this one white woman. And I'm not even going to pose the question of, oh my God, what if Jasmine said to this white woman, you white cracker concubine cunt? Like, I'm not even going to say that, because we know that what would happen. The white woman tears would start flowing as if she was actually attacked. When she was verbally attacked, she would cry assault, like someone beat her practically to death. So this is a great example of the hypocrisy of MAGA, the hypocrisy of what MAGA stands for. We had a whole memorial, not we, they, they had a whole memorial for a man that preached horrible rhetoric like this, who would say someone like Jasmine Crockett isn't qualified and is a DEI hire. They had a whole memorial for someone like this. While they're preaching, they preach and work in love and light and happiness and truthfulness and honesty and in Jesus and in God. Meanwhile, their supporters, as well as their influencers, like Charlie Kirk, who was a podcaster, went around with this hateful rhetoric. They divulged this hateful rhetoric into our environment. So it's the hypocrisy for me when it comes to the MAGA movement. Another crazy thing that I saw was Laura Loomer. I don't know too much about her. I try not to really focus on the influencers because they just look for clout. Like, these MAGA influencers look for clout in the hateful rhetoric that they say from their trash bins and dumpster fires of their mouths. But Jasmine Crockett gets burned by these MAGA influencers. Completely burned. And it's not okay. It's just not okay. So if we go to Twitter, imagine me, anyone, saying this in a place of work, like, and posting this online for people to see. Like, where's the accountability? Oh, right, there's no accountability because these people don't care because they've been emboldened by this administration to spew this disgusting, disrespectful rhetoric, like calling Jasmine Crockett a ghetto black bitch. Like, look at this. Laura Loomer tweeted, "It hurts my heart that we have ghetto black bitches who hate America serving in Congress." This was on the 21st, and I'm pretty sure that's the day of Charlie Kirk's memorial. So instead of crying and being upset and trying to understand your feelings about Charlie Kirk, which we know your feelings is just directed towards hate towards the left, because you have to assume for some reason the left is out to get you guys. The left is persecuting you guys. Those feelings were put aside to put out this tweet to attack Jasmine Crockett, who is a very eloquent speaker, but if she's going to be attacked, she is going to receive back very classy. But in the same way, like, it's just like, how can you sit here as a close advisor to Donald Trump and post this? This is not, like, classy. It's not professional, let alone it's not, like, ethical. Like, how are you gonna sit here and call someone a ghetto black bitch who hates America serving in Congress? Like, if I said that to one of my colleagues, I would be fired and out the door. If I said that in my workplace, I would be fired and out the door in 2 seconds. Not sitting on Twitter still with a job close to the highest job and career in the United States and the highest position in the United States, being president of the United States. But the hypocrisy, again, runs rampant when it comes to MAGA, because they like to infiltrate our government and place these disgusting roaches in places of high power that advises the president. Then again, the president is dirty, disgusting, downright gross, and repulsive as it is. But he ran originally on Drain the Swamp, but he has literally filled the swamp. And we've said this man does not want to drain a swamp because he is going to bring the swamp, a new swamp, to our government. And what he's brought to our government is just downright dangerous. It's dangerous, and it's a coup to remove the United States from the trajectory it was on. And honestly, I'm going to say it, I think that Donald Trump and the second term was not only a retributive term, but it was a term to destroy America from the inside out. He's alienating us from our allies. He's making deals and cozying up to dictators like Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin, supporting Benjamin Netanyahu and the atrocities he's committing in Gaza and not recognizing Palestine as a state. It's just not the American values that we grew up understanding, the American values that we grew up saying, this is how we want our country to be. It's not the Pledge of Allegiance that I pledged to when I was in pre-K to 12th grade every morning at 9:12 a.m. saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No, I didn't pledge to this. I pledged to an America where Americans have opportunity. Americans can choose to exist in any capacity that they want. That's the America I pledged to as a kid. Not this disgraceful piece of crap that is turning into a dumpster fire that needs to be lit on fire. A lot of people want to say, oh, we need American pride. We need this, that, and the third. How am I supposed to be prideful in a country that demonizes people like me? How am I supposed to be prideful in a country that separates families, ships them away, and then also not only ships them away, but shifts people on planes and drops them in the middle of the ocean with their bodies laying shackled on beaches internationally? Like, how can someone be prideful of that? That's called blind allegiance. And last time I checked, I am a cognitive thinker. I can critically think, and critically thinking people will assume that is unethical. It's not only unethical, it's fucking reprehensible and immoral. So, I just can't. And there's more tweets from Laura Loomer, but I just don't even want to get into it. It's just so gross, so disgusting, so just not American. These are not Americans. Laura Loomer, Sarah Gonzalez, these are not Americans. These are traitors and treasonous to America. That's who these people who infiltrated our government and is looking to remove our institutions are. They are treasonous. So, let's move on here. We're going to move on, and we're going to sit here and let's kind of discuss about this Tylenol stuff. Donald Trump and his health administrator, RFK Jr., sat on a press conference yesterday, I think it was, and he literally said that Tylenol is a cause to autism. Tylenol is the cause to autism. This is insanity. And I'm going to play the clip here. So let's go ahead and play the clip. Where are we? Here we go.
And I gave numbers yesterday for boys. It's 1 in 12. I was told that's in California where they have for some reason, a more severe problem. But whether it's 1 in 12 or 1 in 31, can you imagine? That's down from 1 in 20,000, then 1 in 10,000. And now we're at the level of 1 in 12 in some cases for boys.
He's pulling out numbers. He doesn't even know what they mean.
So since 2000, autism rates have surged by much more than 400%. Instead of attacking those who ask questions, everyone should be grateful for those who are trying to get the answers to this complex situation.
We would be grateful if you did actual research.
The first day all of these great doctors behind me were there, I told them this is what we have to find out. Because when you go from 20,000 to 10,000 and then you go to 12, you know there's something artificial. They're taking something. And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. That have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently, is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest that, yeah, with the Amish, for example.
The Amish, yeah, virtually. I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups. The Amish, as an example, they have essentially no autism.
This man is just insane.
First,
he's saying, he literally just said that he does not give two shits what he says live on air to the American public. That should concern you as an American, because it should concern you because it's like, well, if he has no decorum or moral compass to say what is actually true when it comes to studies and evidence and findings, what makes you believe that whatever he says is true? That's called, again, blind allegiance that you guys need to detract from in this magascape of a world, because this is going to get you killed. Statements like this is going to get you killed, no doubt whatsoever. And then to sit here and say, in general, like, Amish people don't have autism. No one in those communities have autism. That's insane to say without factual evidence to back it up on a press conference, a presidential press conference about autism. Where are you getting your facts from? Where are you getting your evidence from? Where are you getting your studies and your tests from? There's no factual evidence to back this up, these claims up that Donald Trump put into the universe. And it's just hypocritical that he's standing at a podium talking about how he found a cure to autism, or not found a cure to autism, but found a culprit of what causes autism, versus actually doing research and time. He wants a gold medal. He wants recognition. This is what this presidency is about. It's about clapping for Donald Trump and petting his toupee and telling him, good girl, good girl, good girl, instead of him actually doing the work of a president and making this country a better place, especially when you're trying to claim that you found a culprit and an actual identifier to what causes autism with no factual evidence to back it up. It's insane to me.
Effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that.
Couldn't even pronounce the name right.
Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as TYLENOL.
How are you going to get on a live press conference and not know how to pronounce the name of a drug that's in the name Tylenol? So that's why he needed to say Tylenol so many times, because he couldn't pronounce the name acetaminophen. Like, are you kidding me? This is our president of the United States on a live broadcast saying he does not know how to read. This man is saying he has no reading comprehension beyond a probably first grade level at this point. Plus the dementia and the senile age and him getting older. I mean, it's all catching up to him, and it's proven in this press conference when he couldn't even pronounce the name of a drug that he was trying to link to a cause to autism. And this is the man you trust with your life? Come on. This is the man, not even with your life, this is the man you trust with your health records, with your health in general. Like, come on. Let's think cognitively here. Do a little critical thinking and understand that this is not okay.
During pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good.
It's not good. It's
For
not
this
good.
reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think.
So here's my problem here. If you're on a live broadcast saying that the drug in Tylenol, acetaminophen, is linked to a cause to autism, which is a horrible genetic condition that affects the daily lives of a lot of Americans nationally, as well as just people internationally, you're going to get on a live stream, a presidential press conference with no facts to back it up, no information, and no statistics, right? And then you're going to sit here and say, don't take Tylenol at all. It's bad. It's bad for you. Don't take it during your pregnancy because it causes autism. But then you're going to roll back what you just said 32 seconds ago and say, well, if you have this unbearable fever or headache or something that is unbearable, it's okay to then take Tylenol. When you're saying that the cause and link to autism is from the drug that's in Tylenol, you're disregarding your whole stance prior. You're disregarding your studies that your World Health Organization is literally sitting here saying, RFK saying that Tylenol is linked to autism. So this is my problem with this administration. They have no coherency. They have no factual evidence about claims. They have no factual evidence about their administration with actual studies and evidence when it comes to genetic conditions that affect actual people. I'm going to say this right now. As a educated American, please don't listen to this man that is on your screen. Don't listen to this grown baby who needs to be petted on his toupee to have any sort of resemblance of official capacity to feel wanted. He is an insecure man who has no idea what he's talking about 24/7. He rambles on and he has no idea how to pronounce the drug acetaminophen. Are you kidding me? Like, girl, bye. Please do your research and listen to your doctors. Don't listen to this man, Donald Trump, because it's not going to get you anywhere. It's very bad. Very bad. I'm telling you now, it's bad. Go to your doctors, not Donald Trump. So when we talk about the Tylenol thing, the evidence is totally inconsistent and inconclusive when it comes to it. I want to talk more about the neurological and developmental condition when it comes to it. I took some notes here because I did some research of my own, as you all should do. And I wanted to know where this study came from in regards to a link between Tylenol and autism. So it started to be early observed in the early 2010s. So a few studies noticed a statistical association between prenatal acetaminophen use and higher risk of autism spectrum disorder. These studies relied on self-reported medication used by mothers, which is prone to a recall bias. So there is a factor in itself that is, if you're using a recalled medicine, then it's going to, of course, have issues within your body. And if you're pregnant, it can affect your actual pregnancy and your child in the long run. If you're using recalled medicine that is not factually found to be supportive of what the drug is supposed to do for you, then of course you're going to have complications or you're going to have effects of that medicine. So they also couldn't separate whether the underlying condition, like a maternal fever, infection, or pain, was a real factor influencing brain development. So when you think about it that way, there's so many different factors when it comes to a woman taking Tylenol, including bodily functions and bodily actual fevers or sicknesses or illnesses that can actually affect a pregnancy and affect a baby inside the woman's womb instead of the actual medicine. So when you look at the multiple factors, women aren't just taking Tylenol to take Tylenol. They're taking Tylenol to reduce a fever. They're taking Tylenol to run the risk of not having an illness anymore. That is why Tylenol is ingested. So when you think of the actual drug as well as a drug mixed with the underlying conditions such as fevers, infections, and pain, it can create a multitude of factors that intertwine that could cause the genetic defect of autism. So to sit here and say Tylenol is the only significant cause seems dangerous when women are now and possibly could sit in a pregnancy and have a high fever, and it could be detrimental to their pregnancy that could lead to miscarriage. Instead of listening to a doctor, they're going to listen to the President of the United States, who has no capacity in healthcare to even give this kind of advice. Yes, he's being advised by RFK, but RFK has no capacity to sit here and give this kind of advice, especially when there's no studies and no evidence, no trials when it comes to this that significantly point to Tylenol being a link to autism. So when we talk about autism, some meta-analysis suggested a slight increase in risk of neurodevelopmental issues with frequent acetaminophen in use in pregnancy. So frequent, that's the word. When you talk about the drug, if you're frequently using it, it could possibly cause a greater risk to a pregnancy. So it's also about the amount of times you take that drug. It's also relied on the amount of times that's ingested in your body. So there's just so much more to investigating this claim that Tylenol links to autism than what Donald Trump can understand, what RFK would understand, because they're known to dilute facts and findings to get a golden award for themselves. They just want a trophy instead of actually trying to help public. So it's just, I, in the end, say, go to a doctor. Go to a doctor, because a doctor is trained. They have studied. They know their actual credentials when it comes to understanding medicine, when it comes to understanding bodily function, when it comes to understanding neurodevelopmental disorders. Your doctors know better than Donald Trump. Your doctors know better than Donald Trump. Doctors over Donald. Just remember it. Doctors over Donald. So when it comes to Trump, honestly, I think this was another act of his misinformation and another act of just throwing everything against the wall he can to deflect from the Epstein files. That is exactly what is going on. He's trying to deflect from the Epstein files. And when, speaking of the Epstein files, I just want to actually, the National Mall had a statue put up of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. And let's get that on the screen here. Isn't this crazy? And I love how this is pictured in front of the one of our government buildings here. Oh man, I'm trying to get this back up here on my screen. But it's a statue of Jeffrey Epstein and Trump holding hands, and it appears on the National Mall. And I'm here for this because we need to remember that Trump is in the Epstein files. One of his closest confidants, Elon Musk, when they had their breakup, Elon Musk said it himself, Trump is in the Epstein files, and yet we have still to release those files, Trump. So he's throwing everything at the White House wall, at the American public, to make sure he deflects from the conversation that needs to continue still be in our daily routine of the Epstein files and holding accountable the people that tortured these girls, not only girls, but minor children. So I love this. I love the statue because it's a resemblance of these two men having a friendship. And on the plaque, it says Donald J. Trump. On Donald J. Trump's statue, it says, yes, there is. Yes. Sorry, I can't read. I don't have glasses right now. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting old and I need glasses. I've turned a certain age and I'm just like, oh, maybe I do need glasses now. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. That is not ominous and disturbing, right? And this is an excerpt, I believe, from the birthday letter he sent to Jeffrey Epstein on one of Jeffrey's birthdays. So I just find this statue between Jeffrey and Donald to be very significant, because it's like they had a friendship, they were close, they were pictured together. Jeffrey Epstein was at Donald Trump's wedding. You don't just invite random people to your wedding. I mean, yeah, you're rich, Donald Trump, you can invite as many people as you want, but Jeffrey Epstein, especially with the rumors at the time of him being this PDF, come on, this man had a friendship with this man, and this statue is in honor of their friendship for Friendship Month. We celebrate the long-lasting bond between President Donald J. Trump and his closest friend, Jeffrey Epstein. This is insane. I love it. I love it because it puts it in everyone's face that Donald Trump is literally just sitting here trying to throw everything at the wall when it comes to the Epstein files. He's trying to get everyone off the topic of it, including his MAGA psychopaths. He's like, forget about it. Why do you guys need it? You ran on it. MAGA was like obsessed with these Epstein files and getting Democrats' names on it and getting Democrats' names out there. But now that Donald Trump's in office and we know he's on the Epstein list, it's like, oh, no, it didn't exist. He's trying to gaslight us to believe that the Epstein list didn't exist when Pam Bondi literally said a list existed. Not only that, Kash Patel is looking to probably resign from his role, and because of this whole debacle when it comes to the handling of the Epstein files, which honestly, they all just need to go. They all just need to go at this point. But when it comes to like his controversial statements and actions to throw everything at the wall when it comes to this issue, to avoid talking about it, addressing it, holding people accountable for the disgusting and despicable actions they did to girls and minor children, he's going to do everything he can because he was named in those files, and whatever is named in those files, whatever his name is attached to, must be so egregious because he's throwing everything at the wall. He's now trying to label transgender people as terrorists, which is insanity. They also tried to have transgender people and remove their rights for the Second Amendment, which the NRA came out and was like, wait, hold up, we don't support that. Anyone can own guns, so we uphold the Second Amendment for everyone. So if the NRA, of all people, is coming out against Donald Trump and saying, we don't agree with that stance, this man done lost his mind. The NRA, of all people. So the NRA is upholding our Constitution more than our President of the United States understands the Constitution, because we know that man has never read the Constitution a day in his life. If he did and could properly comprehend it, he would understand that the things he's doing right now are illegal and unconstitutional, and that's why he has so many lawsuits thrown against him practically every day when it comes to his presidency. He's threatened to remove federal judges, or he's threatened to remove as well Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. He also conducted unilateral military strikes without congressional authorization. He had a whole defamation lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal. So this is about the letter he sent, the birthday message he sent. Trump filed a $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal over a report detailing a 2003 birthday message he allegedly sent to Epstein. The lawsuit has been criticized as an attempt to suppress media coverage and distract from the Epstein investigation. Again, more stuff to distract from the Epstein investigation with Donald Trump. He's trying everything because he knows whatever he's labeled in those files is so egregious, he will never be able to survive the backlash from his base, let alone America in general. Honestly, I think his base would just try and find more ways to cover up for him, to be honest. I think they want him to be honest so they can find a way to cover up for him. MAGA wants Donald Trump to be honest so they can find a way to adjust the age for consent when it comes to children, which is sick. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into it. I was going to say it's sick that they're pointing at the left as PDFs when the biggest PDF is sitting in the presidential office. Insanity. He also put outrageous claims that Biden was executed and replaced by a clone. He tried reviving the whole Hillary Clinton email scandal. He threatened to denaturalize Zohran Mamdani, which is the Democratic New York City mayoral candidate, and he called Obama a treasonous. He literally tried to remove the Second Amendment for trans rights. He tried to make now flag burning illegal, even though it's technically in case law not illegal to burn the American flag, and it's the rights of free speech. It's just, he threw and throws so much at us every day. I even say it's like too effing much. Like, take a breather, bro. And you know, when people are guilty, it doesn't matter who you are or how good of a person you are. When you're guilty, you do try and create chaos to avoid accountability for your own actions. That's the truth. That's the solid truth about it. And that's what he's doing. He's creating chaos to avoid the accountability of being named in those Epstein files. Not only named, but the linkage of his name to the actions that were taken against the girls and the minor children have to be so egregious. That's why he has literally construed chaos around him to deflect from the accountability that he must hold when it comes to those Epstein files. Even with Kirk's, murder, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but even with Kirk's murder, it's just like he ignited the flames. He poured gasoline on the already flaming situation of Kirk. So he's creating as much chaos as he can to deflect from the Epstein files, but as a public, as a people, no matter who you are, right, left, moderate, centrist, I don't care, we need to continue putting out there that these files must come out. The Epstein files, and everyone who is named in them, no one should be protected for the crimes they committed against women and minor girls. And the fact that the people sitting in office currently right now are protecting this man, it's egregious, disgusting, and despicable. And this actually goes into my next point that I wanted to tackle today. I wanted to tackle about the 2024 election. And isn't it funny how currently right now there are so many Republicans sitting in our House of Representatives and Congress. Our entire Supreme Court is pretty much right-winged at this point. Isn't it funny how the Biden administration conducted the investigation on the Epstein files? Not only that, it's been kind of an investigation going on for more than just Biden's tenure as president. But isn't it funny how now there's so many Republicans in charge? They clamored and fought for these files to come out, and now they're not releasing these files. They're choosing, let me say that word, choosing not to release these files to protect high-ranking people like Donald Trump, the people you apparently elected. I'll get into why I say apparently. The people that you apparently elected are choosing to protect PDFs. And ironically, such a landslide of an election happened, and now these files are being hidden from the American public. So, I want to get into this. It's the election fraud and manipulation. Now, I said, this was like literally election night. I said Pennsylvania votes, their votes came in way too quick. Like, for such a big state that it is, Pennsylvania's votes came in too quick. And I even said to my best friend, I was like, there's something odd about this election. And I have no proof of it, so I can't say anything because it's going to look like I'm an election denier, just like Donald Trump was and his maggots were, as well as it's going to look like I'm just crying to cry because Donald Trump won. But something always sat in me, and I think I actually said it on one of my past podcast episodes. I was like, there's something wrong with this election. There's something wrong, and I feel it in my gut. And when it came to it, I said Pennsylvania and Nevada. Something went awry in those two states, for sure. I told my best friend this, and she was like, okay. She's not like a political person too much, but I am. So I know I said it. And I'm glad that David Pakman released an interview earlier today with Nathan Taylor, who is the Executive Director of Public Engagement for the Election Truth Alliance. And they investigated the claims of did I say my... No, I didn't. Okay, I thought I said something else. Election Truth Alliance. And they are investigating the possibility that this election was manipulated fraudulently by our President of the United States. Isn't it ironic how Elon Musk, a tech giant billionaire, had access to these machines prior to this election? Anyway, I want to play a specific clip for you guys of the David Pakman show. So we are going to go ahead and play it.
So my audience knows right now, you've talked about Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Nevada in this interview as published stuff. That would still give Trump 271. Is it your belief right now as you speak to me, based on everything you have published and not yet published, that Donald Trump did not genuinely win the 2024 election?
As of right now, every set of data and additional evidence that we have found points to a serious concern that our election system could be compromised. It could have changed the outcome of not only the presidential election of the 24, but it could have also impacted state, Senate, and House positions that would go on to impact Congress.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say to my...
Isn't that quite the statement? Isn't that quite the statement? So Nathan literally said that, sorry, I'm trying to get this up here. Nathan literally said that this election, the 2024 election, could be compromised. And I said it, I felt it, I had a gut feeling about it, but I had no proof. But now it looks like proof is starting to show in regards to this election and the possibility of the election being stolen or at least compromised in a position that gave Trump an advantage. So when you hear and listen to the interview between David Pakman and Nathan Taylor. Nathan Taylor is part of the Election Truth Alliance. He basically claims the ETA asserts that statistical anomalies in states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Nevada suggest possible vote manipulation. They use heat maps comparing voter turnout with candidate performance, claiming that the data shows non-random algorithmic patterns consistent with ballot stuffing or digital manipulation. So they're saying the ETA is saying and putting out the claims with evidence, not just baseless claims, with evidence that this is a strong possibility that the 2024 election was stolen from Kamala Harris. Okay? So, not only that, let's talk into like the specific findings. In Pennsylvania, which is a state that I originally thought that election night went too quick for Pennsylvania. Something went wrong when it comes to those ballots and the voting count machines. Something went wrong. So, in Pennsylvania, ETA claims that their model shows up to 190K to 200K anomalous votes, potentially enough to overturn Trump's reporting margin of 121K. So essentially what they do is that they use heat maps to show the voting ranges when it comes to actual votes casted in the ballots. Similar concerns were raised with Nevada. They cite evidence from counties where hand-counted precincts differed sharply from machine-counted ones, suggesting a possible machine-related manipulation. So I can't explain it as good as someone who is investigated these claims can, obviously. But the heat maps basically show the amount of votes versus the amount of voter turnout, to my understanding. And I think this is very, very credible evidence when it comes to proving voter manipulation, voter fraud, and essentially a stolen election fraud, which is not far off when it comes to Donald Trump, because he is the biggest fraud of them all. He pointed the finger saying that his election in 2020 was stolen. Well, guess what? Guess what, baby? We're pointing the finger back at you with actual proof. And that's the one thing. That's the one thing when it comes to Trump's administration. There is never proof. Even when it comes to the TYLENOL, I think this is the basis of Trump's administration. His claims never come with proof or facts, and his base does not give two shits about that, which is scary. They are blind followers to a blind allegiance of MAGA. But when now other people are investigating these claims with no bias attached to it, and actual proof comes up, such as heat maps that show the difference in actual voters versus voter possible manipulation when it comes to the electronic voting counting machines, it is very strong evidence that in particular states like Pennsylvania and Nevada, which I said we need to watch out for, very suspicious. It's just funny that now this data is coming out about our election night and our election, which could now pose significant threat to future elections when it comes to election fraud and election manipulation. I don't know. This is insanity. Everything is just so insane when it comes to this presidency. Every day, it is just something new that you just can't grasp. because it's just so out of the realm of a logical ability to cognitively digest and understand. It's like, when does it stop? Like, when does the crazy train stop? And I'm fearful that right now we are in a place of fascism when it comes to this country. We are no longer on the road. We are in fascism when it comes to Donald Trump, the administration, their plans, and how they're implementing their plans. I mean, Donald Trump essentially got Jimmy Kimmel kicked off the air, even though ABC now rehired him. The FCC and actual broadcast companies that handle ABC's distribution is like, we're not going to air Jimmy Kimmel still. So it's just such a chokehold on this country and such an abuse of executive power that this man does not have. It's not becoming scary. It is scary. And everyone should be aware of what's going on in our nation right now. And I feel like people weren't awake 2 years ago, weren't awake a year ago, weren't awake on election night, weren't awake 10 years ago when he said he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Ave and get away with it. It's just erroneous, erratic statements from this president that everyone says, well, you took it out of context. Well, there's no context to take out racist statements and statements like, I will shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Ave and get away with it. There's no context to take it. That's not an analogy. We're not contextually trying to argue things here. He's saying what he means, and he's going about what he means in what he says. So we just need to really be on guard and continue to now not fight by going high. We need to fight fire with fire in regards to what Kamala Harris said. She was on, I believe she had a lot of interviews over the last day or so. And I believe she was on The View and she said, we need to fight fire with fire. And that's the first time I heard a Democrat say, a prominent Democrat say that we need to fight fire with fire. Gavin Newsom obviously is kind of fighting fire with fire in regards to his, ex-tirades. But it's true. It's not working to let these maggots sit here and try and understand humanity, try and understand human decency. It's no longer working to go high when they go low. It's no longer working to try and let them understand or think that they will come to an understanding of what being a human means, because they don't. It's time that we not just when they go low, but we need to go to hell when it comes to these people. You can't fight ignorance with education. You can't fight ignorance with people who are cognitively and critically thinking to have this country develop into a country that could be accessible and loving to everyone. You need to fight the lowness of this white nationalist party and drag it to hell and fight to hell with it, because we are no longer in a state of this is a democracy. We are in a state where this is fascism and we have to fight it, and there's no other way to fight it other than fighting fire with fire. And sometimes you have to, I was in ethics class and I was thinking in my mind, I was like, sometimes you have to be evil to fight evil and win. Anyway, guys, this is the end of the podcast for tonight. Thank you for joining me on the Civil Point Podcast. I am your host, Ariana. If you guys haven't already, you guys can definitely go ahead and subscribe. I would love and appreciate that. And give me your opinions on the topics for tonight. Like, what do you think about DT sitting here and literally implementing fascism into the United States? What do you think about his attempts to throw every just controversial topic at the wall to avoid talking and holding accountable for the Epstein files. What do you think about that statue? I think that statue is phenomenal, and it should actually be put on the White House front lawn just to remind him every day about his friendship with Epstein. I think that's phenomenal. Do it. But yeah, go ahead, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next episode of the Civil Point Podcast with me, your host, Ariana. Bye.